So here we are once again. I am Bill Wagner, and this is the next installment in this ongoing series that I felt I needed to put my effort into, and to find stories that run opposite of the narrative that we have when it comes to esports, and especially when it comes to females who are in this space. I've always said that there's enough room in esports for everybody to do pretty much anything they want. And I have with me today, I have someone who is she got in recently to being a caster because she found just an amazing opportunity with people who supported her on all sides and gave her the chance to learn and grow. And in the conversation that she and I had before we started, it just confirmed to me once more that there's so much wonderful stuff that goes on in esports. There's all these great stories and all these great people, and it runs completely opposite to what we think and what the general public thinks esports is. And there are toxic people, there are morons. It's a thing, and it's something that we deal with on a daily basis. But the flip side of that is so much stronger. There are great stories here to be told, and I have with me today, I have a young lady, and she's going to introduce herself in a second, who confirms my belief in the power of esports to bring us together, to lift us up, and to give us opportunities and connect us with people that we might not normally get that chance to. So I have a Katrina with me today, and so she's going to introduce herself and give a little bit of background into who she is. So go ahead, Katrina.
Hi, everybody. I'm Katrina Weil. I am a Open Division caster with Broadcast.gg. I also write for the Game House and participate in their podcast Watch House. So a lot of things have led to me being able to pursue and achieve a lot of these opportunities. But the common theme throughout everything that I have been able to be a part of in esports is incredible mentorship. Very generous people who have taken time, energy, and effort into helping me pursue not only my dreams, but also help me build myself up as a person. It's been life-changing, my experience in esports.
So that's that's perfect. So sort of talk about your background, how you got into the casting side. You were in school for a while and you graduated and you were going to do something else, but now you're doing this. So sort of talk about your transition.
So I recently graduated from college, and during college, the Overwatch League started my senior year, and I pretty much watched it every single day. It was actually a pretty healing thing for me, esports, as I was going through a very stressful time teaching. And so at the end of the day, while grading papers, I would always turn on Overwatch League, listen to the casters, absorb the community, and it was brilliant. I felt passionate. And so I did some research on video games and female representation, particularly revolving around EA's Dante's Inferno, and comparing the depiction of Beatrice in the original epic poem and the game. So I had always been interested in that component. So after I graduated, I decided to pursue a career in esports. And while I was job hunting, I wanted to see what would happen if I tried to start casting and writing, and I decided to throw myself completely in the community, see what happened, see if anything landed. So I first started writing. I got into some Discord communities that were very female friendly, which was important for me given some past experiences with esports. And I met incredible people, ultimately leading me to try out for Broadcast.gg's Open Division Season 3 broadcast. And I got accepted as a host, and things just started to happen even quicker, and was able to become a color caster as well, and eventually casted one of the semifinals of Open Division North America. So it's been a whirlwind, but I've loved it.
That's a really awesome story, and I'm sitting here as you're saying it, and I'm the first thing that struck me is, and this is a first in my entire journey in esports, is that somebody quoted or somebody referenced a what am I trying to say, a piece of classic literature. And so when you reference Dante's Inferno, I'm like, that just shows you right there that smart people are in esports. It's not just a bunch of morons sitting in front of their computers screaming at each other. There's actually smart people here. You know what I mean?
Well, thank you. I've always loved literature. So it was a really cool combination of my passions. And one of my mentors there was an Italian professor who loves video games as well. And he was trying to find ways to teach Italian through video games. So I'm really excited how his textbook comes along. It'll be very exciting.
That is, wow. Okay. That's an awesome story for someday. So now so you said that, and then I was also hearing that you in this process, it wasn't an easy process for you. You had personal troubles, you had professional troubles, you struggled. You didn't just show up one day and you were there. You had to search, you had to find your way in. You had to find places to belong. Some places sucked and some places were great. And you were faced with people who were toxic, but you were also faced with a lot of people who were wonderful and kind, and they helped you. So I think that's an important thing to show, is that not everything is roses. And if you stick with the first horrible experience that you have, and that's the only thing that you work on or work off of in your career, then yeah, esports is this horrible place. But instead, you kept looking and kept working and kept searching, and then you found the place that you belonged, and you found you not only found where you belong, but you found people who supported you, and you put in the work. So sort of explain your process a little, because I'm certain there were days where you're like, this sucks, I hate everything, I hate everybody, but then you still get up and you still work. So what's there? I mean, what sort of personal strength do you have? I mean, I guess the question really is, you gained your confidence. So what did you do? You know what I'm saying?
Yes. So I'm a very sensitive person, but throughout my life, I have been involved in mathematics. And so I'm used to the whole male-dominated fields. In college, I roomed with 4 to 5 men, depending if the couch was being slept on. So I'm very used to these types of communities. So there wasn't necessarily a fear coming into esports, but I did, of course, realize that. I mean, you look at some of these titles, and when you're playing a game, sometimes you feel, oh, this isn't directed towards me. Or when I'm playing Overwatch, I'll hear, like, if I go into voice chat, and I know a lot of people who share the similar sentiment, you'll get called slurs, whether it's homophobic, sexist, racist. I mean, it's not always the happiest time in competitive, not just because of your gameplay, but during hard days, I would kind of go back, look at some of my role models in the industry, just work even harder, try to ignore Twitch chat every once in a while. But definitely in the earlier days, when I didn't necessarily have a community and I was searching out for them, I relied on those male roommates of mine who actually introduced me to Overwatch. They were very supportive. They thought that I had the potential to be a player in this industry somehow. So they were very kind to me, very generous with their opinions. But at the end of the day, I was I was just trying to work forward because I love the game. I love the community, and if I have the opportunity to make it better for those who come after me, it's worth whatever slurs I get called in competitive or
Right.
and that has gone down. I don't want to say that everything that I've experienced is negative. Um, and one of the reasons why Overwatch specifically drew me was that this game is so diverse in
Mm-hmm.
its character setup. There's an even amount of male and female characters, the international setting, just the more peaceful view of the future. All of those things really made me feel like this was a different game that I wanted to pursue. And when I was watching Overwatch League, I remember reading an essay written by Jake Lyon, who is on the Houston Outlaws, about the status of women in esports. And it was just really exciting for me, I realized, to see that one of the most vocal people in esports was defending the place of women, was supporting us, saying that we don't need to have separate tournaments. We are as capable as men. So to see major figures step up and in that community made me feel like this could have been a safer place for me to pursue some crazy stuff.
Right. And I think I'm you're sitting there talking, and I'm talking about your growth and your process, and I hear a definite underlying theme of there were men in your life who supported you and saw you not as somebody who just kind of shows up and who meets who meets a particular stereotype of a girl gamer who's just there to just there to get attention. You actually learned, and you actually provided value, and you actually worked hard, and you worked to understand that. And I think that's an important one more thing to highlight, is that there are men out there who are jerks and they say horrible stuff. And there are women out there who are jerks and say horrible things and are mean and cruel. But then there are the people, and I believe they constitute the majority of people in this world, in this industry, who just want to share what they know, and they want to support people regardless of your gender, regardless of your skin color, regardless of anything that you are. They just want people to be with them and enjoy what we have, and what this is building to, and what the awesome communities that there are out there. And I think that's one more important piece to highlight, is that there are men out there who don't buy into the toxic side of gaming. It's there. We all know it. But there are people who are like, that's not who we are. That's not what we do. We want everybody, and this is what it looks like when we include everybody. We lift them, we teach them. And so you're talking about the people who supported you along the way, and your mentors and the people that gave you the opportunities. So sort of give me a short list of the people that you are most thankful for along the way, who gave you the opportunity to write, perhaps, or who sit with you on your when you're done, who sit with you when you're done doing your events, and you're breaking down your process and your videos and things like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Honestly, I could probably list around 20 people, but since I won't do that,
Okay.
I would really like to highlight, first of all, those at broadcast.g. I would first like to thank Alex Mushubeef Chan for the incredible opportunity. He was the one who saw that I had the capacity to work in open division, and has been instrumental in building my confidence. But one of the first VOD review, so when we're casting, a lot of the times we will have reviews to improve, similar to what a player might do to improve their gameplay. And Chris Pukasaurus Lessard, he gave me a VOD review for the first time to when I was just going to be a host for Open Division, and he saw some potential in me. And we actually had an impromptu cast right there with him doing play-by-play and me doing color commentary. And he was like, okay, well, you should try casting too. And he gave me some very specific areas to work on. And he was also one of the leaders of Broadcast GG's mentorship program. So Broadcast GG is incredible in that they have all of these veterans who are phenomenal, but they also give back. And I was assigned to someone who I had known before, someone who has been a staple in my entire esports journey, Evie Ham Tornado Fang. She is also a color caster for Broadcast GG, has casted contenders. She's absolutely brilliant. And so whenever I have a VOD review with her, not only is she helping me with my analysis, with my content, she's also discussing the position of us as female casters in esports, and it happens very naturally. It's interesting how many connections there are between casting and the real world. So, for example, I found myself apologizing, but I didn't realize it when I was casting. But when Ham Tornado was reviewing with me, she's like, "Okay, you're apologizing a lot," and then she gave me kind of a reasons why, especially as a female caster. And as a woman in general, you should not be apologizing for your content. You are the expert, or as Poopasaurus would say, speak with intent. So those three in Broadcast GG in particular have helped me build my confidence, not only as a caster, but as a person. Sometimes when I'm casting, I get not sometimes, I have stage fright. So every time I go into a cast, I'm terrified. Absolutely, like almost throwing up, terrified.
Wow.
So to have that support, and sometimes even Mushu comes in and calms me down. I'm still working on it. I'm sorry, Mushu, but it helps so much to know that everybody on the broadcast with me cares and is willing to support me, isn't rooting for me to fail. They're doing the exact opposite. So I'm learning a lot. I'm very thankful to them, especially from the casting point. Now, on the writing standpoint, been very lucky with the Game House, with Robert, who is our CEO. He has been so supportive, as well as Nick Butts. He has been so kind when Reddit has kind of given me some kicks, as well as my Watch House co-host. You might recognize him as Seagull Man, the guy with the seagull mask in the Overwatch League, but Brandon Padilla, and then Connor, Goopy Canoopy. they're both so lovely, and they take care of me and make sure that I'm doing okay. Very thankful to all of those people. That was a little less than 20.
That's okay. No, that's all right. I think what people really need to pay attention to, though, too, is in that whole thing is that you talked about the fact that you still have fear. You have all this support. You have these wonderful people, and they work with you, and they lift you, and they build you. And even with all that and your work, and you're constantly getting better, and you're constantly improving, and you're being honest with yourself, and you're being grateful, you still have fear. You still have that thing like, holy crap, can I actually do this? And they're like,
oh, every time.
Yes. And but see, that's something. And I have this same problem too, when people don't realize that when it comes to some of the writing that I do online and some of the stuff I do offline, I still wonder, okay, does that sound right? Or wait a minute, I'm sure I can rework that and make it better. And at some point you just got to go, you know what, screw this. This is what we got. This is where we're going. And let's just go. I mean, yes, there is fear, but on the other side of fear is all the stuff we want, all the success, all the adoration, all the strength. It's all right there. We just have to get on the other side of the fear. And the only way on the other side is to go through it. You have to go through the fear, and you have to remember what you've been trained, and you have to focus and keep going. you're going to make a mistake. You're going to say the wrong word on air, or you're going to call some character the wrong name, and you're going to get some player confused with another player. It's going to happen, and you work through that. So what are some tips and suggestions that you could give to other people who are like, yeah, I love casting. I love what that does. I love esports. I when it comes to playing, I'm not a very good player, but I just love the casting side and being involved with it. What are some tips, short term, medium term, long term, I guess, that you could give to people who? Go ahead.
Oh, sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. Go ahead.
So I'm still relatively new at the whole casting thing, but some things that have been so instrumental to me, as we've mentioned before, seek out people who find your community, find your tribe, find the people who are going to tell you that everything is okay when you feel like you've messed up and you don't want to go back. They'll keep you casting. For any caster who is curious, join broadcast.gg, join the Discord. Not only are there so many opportunities for producing, for casting, for hosting, analyzing, anything you can imagine. A lot of people go through that Discord to promote other casting opportunities, other producing opportunities. And that's where I got my first casting gig, not at Broadcast GG, but through someone who had advertised through their channel. So first of all, do that. Something interesting that I was very fortunate in was my parents decided to watch Overwatch with me one spring break. And because that was all I was talking about. That was the only happy thing that that was the only thing I was happy about in my life at that time. So they would watch me watch Overwatch, and they were so confused. They aren't big fans of video games. Never really encouraged them when I was little. But they would try their best to ask me as many questions. And interestingly enough, explaining Overwatch in concise, slow terms to 50-plus-year-old people is a great way to improve your casting. I mean, just trying to translate all of the chaos on the screen into small, digestible bits kind of strangely helped. And now my dad will argue with me about certain strategies when we're watching Overwatch. So I'm improving that way too now.
That's hilarious. That's actually hilarious, because what you basically did right there with your parents is you understood your audience, and you adjusted your delivery and your content to be able to serve that audience, right?
Yes, and that's honestly my goal whenever I go into a cast. So I know with casters, for example, Ham Tornado and Boop, who I referenced earlier, they are way funnier than I ever will be. I can never cast like them, and that's okay. The zone that I'm trying to hit with my casting, or at least right now, I want it to be accessible, and I want it to be positive. I think Overwatch is one of the leaders in gaming right now for bringing esports to the mainstream. And if you are able to translate one of the most difficult to follow games to a person who is unfamiliar completely, I think that's a really great tool. It helps you build skills that are transferable outside of esports. And I was going to say something else. 1 second. But no, I feel like another person who really inspired me in my journey was Sideshow, Josh Sideshow Wilkinson, who you'll see analyze at Overwatch League. He created a series of articles about Peel, about Dive, trying to take these integral but kind of vague concepts in Overwatch, and he wrote about just the basics. And I would forward them on once again to my parents, and I realized that there was a need for that type of content in the community. So he was also a very big influence. I really appreciate the work that he did. That's another tip. And also the most important thing I've found is VOD review, reflection. You need to reflect on your work. You can't just keep repeating reps and not think what you did right, what you did wrong. I'm very self-critical, so there's a pros and cons to it. But I find that going over it with Ham Tornado has changed my casting. She not only does she have way more knowledge on the game than me and way more experience, she still knows where I'm doing all right. And so she's very good at making me feel good and supporting me when I'm being really mean to myself.
Right.
So not only do the VOD reviews give you some focus, I write down everything I'm trying to focus on before a match. Read myself an essay practically, but reflection is vital if you want to improve at anything.
Awesome.
Reflection and practice.
Reflection and practice. Excellent. Well, here we are about 25 minutes into this, and this there's a lot of good stuff here, and I hope that you and I can come back again in the future multiple times, and we can talk about your process and what you've learned, and find out about the other opportunities that you've picked up along the way. So for making time for me today, I'm sure that you're extremely busy with what you do. I really appreciate you making time for me, and so we can sit down and talk. So as we shut this down, is there anything that you want to promote? Any sort of upcoming events that you're going to be at, or your social media stuff?
So tonight, actually, me and my two close friends on Watch House, our Overwatch podcast for the Game House, will be discussing the new Halloween event. So that will be on Twitch, on the Game House's Twitch website. So please tune in. My Twitter is Katrina __ WEIL. So if you want to follow me there, I would really appreciate it. But all in all, thank you for this opportunity to discuss where I've been so far in this short time. But
Right.
I've learned a lot, and I'm really grateful for this opportunity. So thank you.
You are most welcome, and thank you everybody for tuning in to listen to me ramble on as well. Thank you very much. You'll find this on YouTube shortly, as soon as I can get this to my producer and we can get this pushed out. So Katrina, thank you. Everybody, thank you very much for tuning in. You're going to see more of these interviews coming. I have several in the can, and it's funny how this works. You write a couple things, you do a couple of interviews, and next thing you know, you got a whole lot more contacts than you actually know what to do with. So it's the truth. All you got to do is ask. I tell people that all the time. The worst thing you can do is not ask. But stay tuned, everybody. Lots more good stuff coming very, very soon. Katrina, thank you very much again for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.